I'm a little nervous today, Diddy told the judge while asking for a brief break. Yup, that's how the first day of jury selection kicked off in one of the biggest celebrity trials of the year. I'm an attorney and I read what happened, so you don't have to. Inside the courtroom, Diddy ditched the jail uniform for a blue sweater and a button-up, but the nerves were clear today. After 7 months in custody and several denied bail requests, Diddy looked tense. In Manhattan federal court, nearly 600 potential jurors were summoned to ensure a fair and impartial trial. The defense has already tried to dismiss one woman who works at HBO, which incidentally released the documentary called The Fall of Diddy. However, the judge has denied their attempt to remove her. Michael B. Jordan's name was also read out to a potential juror from a list of names and places that will likely come up throughout the trial. Federal agents say they have receipts, videos, witness statements, and even claims that Diddy paid people to keep them quiet. From music mogul to federal defendant, this trial is just getting started. Let me know if you have any comments or questions and follow for updates because this trial's about to be a long one. Diddy just rejected a plea deal in his federal trafficking case. I'm a California attorney and I read what happened, so you don't have to. At the pretrial hearing, Diddy confirmed to the judge that he's declining the prosecution's offer of a plea deal and wants to continue with trial, which begins on May 5th, this upcoming Monday. Diddy is facing very serious charges and if convicted on all charges, could face a life sentence. Diddy continues to plead not guilty and is claiming that everything that ever happened was consensual. The trial is expected to last at least 8 weeks, with jury selection beginning on Monday, May 5th, and opening statements on May 12th. Diddy is facing very serious charges, including racketeering, trafficking, transporting individuals for SA, and many others. Prosecutors are alleging that over a 20-year period, Diddy would use his music empire to coerce women and then proceed to SA them. This high-profile trial is set to unfold over the coming weeks, and you already know we're going to break it all down on this channel, so let me know if you have any comments or questions down below. It's been a bit of a struggle in court this afternoon in the Diddy trial, and not because of the case itself, but trying to find viable jurors. I'm an attorney and I read what happened, so you don't have to. One man was dismissed after he told the judge that he's a strong dislike for the police, and that if a law enforcement officer were to testify, that he would take it with a grain of salt. And one woman brought a whole calendar of scheduling conflicts. Her son's prom, graduation, her daughter's birthday. And when she was asked to make accommodations, she said that she would try, but she made it to the next round and was not dismissed. But it's not just about availability. The judge is asking some difficult questions to these prospective jurors, including, have you heard about this case? Do you have any training or experience with DV or SA? What are your views on law enforcement? Have you been involved in a legal case before? How do you feel about hip-hop artists, and have you ever experienced personal trauma? And the questions aren't just for show, they matter. After lunch, several potential jurors shared their personal experiences of SA or DV. And nearly every female juror questioned had either gone through it or known someone that had. That makes this process of jury selection even more difficult given the facts of this case. Jury selection is far from simple, and today is proving just how difficult and complicated it can be. Let me know if you have any comments or questions down below, and make sure to follow as we do a day-by-day update on the Diddy trial. The Diddy trial just concluded, and here's everything you need to know. I'm an attorney and I read what happened, so you don't have to. There are currently 19 jurors that are moving on to the next stage. The day began with Diddy entering the courtroom in a navy sweater, a white shirt, and greeting his defense team very warmly. Jury selection commenced with nearly 600 potential jurors completing their questionnaire. As a reminder, they're looking to select 12 jurors and 6 alternates. During questioning, several potential jurors disclosed their personal experience with SA. While some affirmed their ability to remain unbiased, other potential jurors were dismissed due to concerns about potential prejudice. One potential juror who described the video that she viewed between Diddy and Cassie as damning was excused. The court also presented a list of 190 individuals, including celebrities such as Kanye, Kid Cudi, and Michael B. Jordan, to determine any familiarity that these potential jurors might have. Diddy remains in custody, and the trial is expected to last a total of 8 weeks, with opening statements starting on May 12th. However, jury selection continues tomorrow, May 6th, so stay tuned and let me know if you have any comments or questions down below. I'm an attorney and I've been making videos breaking down the Diddy trial, and one of the top questions I keep getting is why isn't this trial being televised? So let's get into it. Diddy's trial is a federal trial, and under the Federal Rule of Criminal Procedure, which was enacted back in 1946, the use of cameras and broadcasting equipment is prohibited in a federal courtroom. This rule aims to preserve the integrity of the judicial process and also protect the privacy of all the parties involved. Unlike some state courts which allow televised proceedings, federal courts maintain this ban amongst all criminal cases, which is also why the R. Kelly case wasn't televised. So despite the public interest in watching the Diddy trial, it is still unavailable for live broadcast. While the trial isn't being televised, updates are available daily through courtroom sketches and journalists who are reporting live from inside the courtroom. Day 1 just concluded today, and opening statements are currently scheduled for May 12th, with the trial being expected to run 8 to 10 weeks. Stay tuned for more updates as the significant case progresses, and let me know if you have any comments or questions down below. P. Diddy has a lot of money, probably enough to buy his way out of jail. Yes, that's an actual quote from a potential juror in court today. And yes, she got dismissed. It's day 2 in Diddy's federal trial in Manhattan. I'm an attorney and I read what happened, so you don't have to. Diddy walked into court today wearing the same exact outfit as yesterday, a navy crewneck sweater and a white shirt. By mid-morning, only one juror has advanced so far. She's a psychologist with experience in civil lawsuits and family trauma. However, she stated that she could be impartial and advance to the next round. One potential juror was dismissed after he admitted that he read the news about jury selection yesterday, despite being instructed by the judge not to. Prosecutors pushed for his removal and the defense disagreed, but the judge ended up excusing him. Another potential juror was also dismissed after admitting that he saw the video that CNN released of Diddy and Cassie. Day 2 is fully underway, and they seem hopeful that opening statements will still start next Monday, May 12th. I'm doing daily updates on the Diddy trial, so let me know if you have any comments or questions down below. Diddy's not just watching his trial, he's reacting to the jurors. And people are noticing. It's lunchtime on day 2 of the Diddy trial. I'm an attorney and I read what happened, so you don't have to. 6 jurors have advanced to the next round and 7 have been dismissed. The court is still working towards a pool of 45 jurors before opening statements next week. Diddy, dressed down again, was quietly observant in court today, literally nodding and shaking his head as jurors spoke. And it wasn't subtle. One prospective juror joked that she didn't know anyone on the celebrity witness list, but that she wished she did. And that got a smile out of Diddy. Diddy was nodding when a male designer stated that being on the jury would cost him his commission, but that the base pay would be enough for him to survive. And then he looked at his team and his team nodded back at him too. Overall, the judge and the attorneys are carefully navigating bias, hardship, and credibility. But according to journalists and reporters, Diddy's reactions are clearly a part of the room now too. Jury selections will continue today after lunch and the rest of this week, and we're doing daily updates, so make sure to follow and let me know if you have any comments or questions down below. Day 2 of Diddy's federal trial wrapped, and here's what you need to know. I'm an attorney and I read what happened, so you don't have to. We're still in jury selection, and the court is trying to build a pool of 45 potential jurors. By the end of day 2, 39 prospective jurors had faced questions. 16 prospective jurors moved forward, including 10 men and 6 women. Their ages spanned from 38 to 87, and their occupations included American Airlines pilot, a kitchens designer, a physician's assistant, and more. Inside the courtroom, all eyes weren't just on the judge. They were also on Diddy. Throughout the day, Diddy was seen smiling and nodding in response to some answers, though he did remain actually silent throughout. The judge and the attorneys questioned these jurors individually and really focused on whether they were able to remain impartial. Some jurors were excused due to personal trauma, and another had seen the CNN video between Diddy and Cassie. No opening statements yet. Those are scheduled for May 12th, and we will be unpacking them all on this account. But Diddy's courtroom presence and reactions are already playing a quiet yet noticeable role. Let me know your thoughts and comments down below. The prosecution is a 6-pack of white women. It's day 3 of the Diddy trial. Let's get into it. The judge in the Diddy trial just issued a sharp warning, and not to Diddy, but to someone else in the courtroom. On day 3 of jury selection, the judge reprimanded a high-profile attorney for calling the prosecution, and I quote, a 6-pack of women on a podcast. The attorney made the comment on May 2nd during an episode of Two Angry Men, which he co-hosts with the TMZ founder. He said the racial and gender makeup of the prosecution was interesting and called race an undercurrent of the trial, though not a current part of Diddy's defense. But the judge wasn't having it. In a private meeting later revealed in transcripts, The judge told the attorney, "That's something no one should be saying as an officer of the court." The judge continued that referring to the prosecution as a six-pack of white women is outrageous. While this attorney isn't officially on Diddy's defense team, he regularly speaks with Diddy and also represents his mom. And this attorney's daughter is on Diddy's legal defense team. How do you think the judge handled this comment? Let me know of any questions and comments down below. Day 3 of the Diddy trial and the 45 possible jurors have been selected. I'm an attorney and I read what happened so you don't have to. Today, 6 women and 5 men were chosen to move forward as potential jurors. As of this afternoon, they have narrowed down the 45 possible jurors needed to move on with this process. From here, Diddy's team gets 10 peremptory strikes, which means that they can remove any 10 jurors without giving any reason, and the prosecution gets 6. Once those are used up, each side will get 3 more strikes. The final selection process is happening Friday morning at 9 a.m., and then there will be a full jury, 12 jurors and 6 alternates. There's no court scheduled for tomorrow, so things won't pick back up again until the end of this week. And opening statements are still expected for Monday, May 12th. Let me know if you have any comments or questions down below, and make sure to follow because we're going to break down the whole trial, which is projected to last 8 to 10 weeks starting on Monday. I've been making videos breaking down the Diddy trial, and one of the top questions I keep getting is, what is he even being charged with? So let's get into it. One of hip-hop's biggest moguls is facing some of the darkest allegations in the music history. Diddy is at the center of a federal trafficking case, and it's way deeper than people realize. Federal prosecutors have hit Diddy with trafficking, racketeering, and transporting individuals across state lines for illegal activity. They're calling it a full-blown criminal enterprise. Investigators say that he hosted private events where women were allegedly coerced and sometimes recorded without their consent. And some victims say that they were blackmailed to keep quiet. His ex, Cassie Ventura, is one of the key figures here. She filed a lawsuit back in 2023, claiming years of physical, emotional, and SA. One of the incidents was a brutal 2016 hotel that was caught on surveillance footage and released by CNN. Diddy has denied all charges and continues to plead not guilty, and he even rejected a plea deal. Opening statements begin on Monday, May 12th, and prosecutors have admitted that they might have to move forward without a few key witnesses. This case could shake up the entire music and legal industry. So make sure to follow for updates as this all unfolds, and let me know if you have any comments or questions down below. A key witness in the Diddy trial is missing, and prosecutors might have to just go on without her. I'm an attorney and I read what happened so you don't have to. Prosecutors have revealed that victim 3, a crucial witness that was expected to testify about very personal and explosive details about her encounters with Diddy, has gone missing. She has been unreachable, her attorney has been unreachable, and they are uncertain as to whether she'll testify in court. This has come as a shock to the court due to the fact that prosecutors, in a memo dated April 29th, told the court that victim number 3 didn't even want to testify with a pseudonym and was okay using her own name. Despite this, the prosecution plans to call 3 alleged victims. One of the 3 is Cassie, and the other 2 have chosen to use pseudonyms. Jury selection is still ongoing, with a final panel expected to be seated on Friday, May 9th. As a reminder, there is no jury selection happening today, Thursday, May 8th. This case continues to unfold with unexpected developments. Let me know if you have any comments or questions down below, and make sure to follow for daily updates. There was mutual DV in their relationship on both sides. That is a direct quote from Diddy's defense attorney today. It's Friday, May 9th, and court was supposed to be in full swing today for the Diddy trial, but court just got adjourned for the day. I'm an attorney and I read what happened so you don't have to. The final stage of jury selection was supposed to happen today, and instead of 45 potential jurors, we are left with only 43. One potential juror apparently sent an email expressing her concern about being on the jury, and is now no longer a part of the jury pool. The rest will return on Monday, with challenges beginning at 8:30 a.m., and opening statements are slated for 9:30 a.m. Diddy's defense team has also stated that they plan to argue that his relationship with victim number 1, who is believed to be Cassie, had mutual DV. They are also claiming that the CNN video that many people saw was actually altered, And while they're admitting that there was DV, they're raising the question of when does it cross into coercion. The Diddy trial will be back in full swing on Monday, so let me know if you have any comments and questions down below, and make sure to follow for daily updates. A jury of 12 plus 6 alternates has been selected in the Diddy trial. I'm an attorney and I read what happened, so you don't have to. The government struck 7 black people, which we believe amounts to a pattern. And it's our request that the government give neutral reasons for those strikes. It's Monday, May 12th, and that is a direct quote from Diddy's jury selection today. Court is in session, and as a reminder, there was a pool of 43 jurors going into today. The government responded, "We have not demonstrated any bias whatsoever." The jurors that the government wanted to strike included a 38-year-old black man who was arrested for putting a police officer in a chokehold over a decade ago. The government proceeded to run down a list as to why each juror was struck. The judge decided that the defense didn't show enough evidence that these jurors were struck on the basis of race, and therefore the government strikes stood. The jury has been selected and we are still standing by for a breakdown of the jurors. Make sure to follow for all the updates and let me know if you have any comments or questions down below. Is baby oil and lubricant a federal crime? No. That is a direct quote from Diddy's defense opening statement today. I'm an attorney and I read what happened, so you don't have to. It's Monday, May 12th, and opening statements are underway in the Diddy trial. Diddy's defense attorney has stated, "Sean Combs is a complicated man, but this isn't a complicated case." She stated that the charges, which include racketeering and trafficking, are based on relationships driven by love, jealousy, infidelity, and money. According to the defense's opening statements, these were voluntary choices made by consenting adults. The defense plans to show text messages from Diddy's employees, claiming that most had positive relationships with him, and that they will testify that there was no criminal enterprise. Diddy's attorney argues that while violence did occur, it is not related to the specific charges that Diddy is being charged with. She emphasized, DV is not trafficking, and made sure to repeat that to the jury. Diddy's attorney continued that Diddy can be mean and has a temper, and that he could get out of control while drinking. However, that this alone could not make him guilty of the crimes he is being charged with. Opening statements are still continuing and we are going to break down everything on this channel, but let me know if you have any comments or questions down below as the day progresses. Cassie made a choice every day for 11 years to stay with Diddy and to fight for the relationship. The defense's opening statement was an hour and a half long. I made a first video breaking down the first half, so let's get into the second half. According to the defense, Cassie chose to stay with Diddy every day. Until one day, she decided she was going to break up with him because that was her preferred choice, end quote. Allegedly, Cassie then ran into the arms of another man, a personal trainer that Diddy had actually hired for her. Cassie is expected to testify in court this week, and Diddy's attorney made it clear that the evidence may show that Diddy is a very flawed individual, but not someone that is guilty of racketeering, trafficking, or any of the other charges he is currently being charged with. Diddy's attorney is also claiming that Cassie was extremely jealous of Diddy's relationship with Kim Porter. Then came one of the most discussed moments, the hotel hallway video from 2016. Diddy's attorney didn't deny what happened. She told the jurors, what Combs did to Cassie on that videotape is indefensible, but it is not evidence of trafficking. It is evidence of DV. The defense is trying to draw a clear line, acknowledging past DV while denying it amounts to the criminal enterprise that the prosecutors allege. This trial is just getting started, so make sure to follow and let me know if you have any comments or questions down below. Power, violence, blackmail, and 20 years of secrets. That's how the government opened its case against Diddy. The government has delivered their opening statement against Diddy. I'm an attorney and I read what happened, so you don't have to. Assistant U.S. Attorney Emily Johnson told the jurors that they will hear about 2 decades of alleged crime, including trafficking, arson, bribery, and more that were carried out by Diddy and his inner circle. Johnson says that when Diddy found out that his then-girlfriend, Cassie, was seeing another man, fueled by rage, he grabbed a GUN, a bodyguard, and kidnapped an employee to come with him to help him track the man down. They eventually broke into the man's home, but no one was home. According to the prosecution, that didn't stop him. When he found Cassie, Johnson alleges that Diddy beat her brutally, as he'd done many times before. Prosecutors also say that Diddy hosted freak-offs, where women, including Cassie and another girlfriend that's been referred to as Jane, were forced to perform without consent and were filmed for blackmail. Johnson states that Diddy even paid $100,000 in cash to obtain that security footage from the hotel showing DV with him against Cassie. Jurors will hear from Cassie, Jane, a former employee named Nia, and even a male escort. All are expected to describe abuse, coercion, and fear that lasted over a span of years. The prosecution says that the evidence will speak for itself. The trial is just beginning, so let me know if you have any comments or questions down below. The first witness has taken the stand in the Diddy case, and his testimony centers around the hotel security footage. He was the security guard that night. I'm an attorney and I read what happened, so you don't have to. Israel Flores, now a Los Angeles police officer, was working as hotel security at the Intercontinental in March 2016. On the morning of March 5th, Flores got a call about a woman in distress on the 6th floor. He testifies that when he arrived, he saw a man pacing around the hallway, which was later confirmed to be Diddy. On the video, Diddy is seen only wearing a towel and socks, while Cassie, his then-girlfriend, can be seen cowering over in the corner, covering her face. Flores testified that Diddy had a devilish face and appeared detached. When Flores told them to take their argument back to the room, Flores testifies that Diddy then approached him later with a stack of cash, asking him not to tell anybody what he saw. Flores alleges that he refused and told Diddy, "I don't want your money." Jurors then saw the shocking security footage. Cassie bent over near the elevators, putting her shoes on, when suddenly Diddy appears into the frame. He throws her to the ground, he kicks her, and then he grabs her by the hoodie and drags her through the hallway. She eventually gets up and calls security using one of the hallway phones. In a mirror reflection, Diddy is seen grabbing a vase that's in the hallway and throwing it at her. Flores admitted that he recorded part of the incident on his phone to show his wife because he thought no one would believe him otherwise. Later that morning, when Cassie tried to leave, Flores described that a 7-foot man, who was described as one of Diddy's associates, tried to block Cassie outside of the hotel, and when Flores pushed back, Diddy's alleged associate told him, "I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to her." Cassie then quietly said that she wanted to go. Prosecutors are arguing that Diddy relied on this close network to cover up his crimes and help silence victims. The footage is just the beginning. More videos and more witnesses are still expected, and I'm going to do a whole nother video breaking down the cross-examination. So make sure to follow and let me know if you have any comments or questions down below. We have the cross-examination of the hotel security guard. I did another video breaking down the direct, so let's get into it. Defense attorney Brian Steele challenged Flores' credibility, questioning why he left out key details from his 2016 incident report of the now infamous altercation between Diddy and Cassie. Specifically, Flores left out that Cassie had a black eye and that Combs allegedly told her that she could not leave. Flores told the jury that he clearly remembered the incident. Flores also admitted to recording the hotel surveillance footage on his phone, but said that he didn't download it from the hotel computers because he didn't have access. When he later tried to retrieve it for a colleague, the footage was gone. Steele also tried to press Flores on the moment that Diddy tried to give him a stack of cash. Flores said that it felt like a bribe, and the defense is suggesting that it could have just been to cover hotel damages. Flores admitted that he told Diddy earlier that he was going to have to cover the broken items. Despite the pushback, Flores stood by his account of the events, and the prosecution still has many more witnesses and evidence to present. Let me know your thoughts and comments down below, and let me know if you have any questions. The second witness in the Diddy trial took the stand, and his story is explosive. I'm an attorney and I read what happened, so you don't have to. His name is Daniel Phillips, and he's a 41-year-old that alleges that he was paid to sleep with Cassie while Diddy watched. According to Phillip, this started back in 2012 in New York City. He thought he was booked for a bachelorette party, but when he knocked on the door, he was met by Cassie greeting him. I just wanted to drop a quick note before continuing this video that I will be leaving out some of the very graphic details. One, because TikTok will likely take down that video. Two, I understand that this is disturbing and sensitive information for many people, and I don't want to just spur that in a video. But this is all public information, and you can go read it online if that's something you're interested in doing. And with that, let's continue. So Philip said that he was invited into the room by Cassie. She explained that it was her birthday and that her husband wanted to do something special for her. That's when Diddy came out, face covered, but Phillips said that he recognized his voice almost immediately. Diddy reportedly gave them direction: use more baby oil, slow down, go faster, while he sat in the corner and would record all of their interactions. Phillip alleges that Diddy once asked for his driver's license, just in case, and Phillip took that as a threat. He said he was paid $600 to $6,000 per encounter, but he did say, and I quote, "I didn't care if I got paid. It was exciting to be in this world." One night, Phillip says that Diddy got violent. He saw a liquor bottle fly past Cassie, and then he heard Combs yelling, "When I tell you to come here, you come." Phillip claims that he heard what sounded like slaps and then Cassie screaming, "I'm sorry." The defense objected constantly during Phillip's testimony, but most of the objections were overruled. The cross-examination of Phillip is expected to complete tomorrow, and Cassie is also expected to testify tomorrow. Things are only getting more intense in this trial, so let me know if you have any comments and questions down below. The Diddy trial is about to get started today, Tuesday, May 13th. So let's do a recap of everything that went down yesterday, which was the first full day of proceedings. I'm an attorney and I read what happened, so you don't have to. I have other videos breaking down everything in more specific detail if you're interested in those, but let's get into the overview. Yesterday, all the jurors were officially picked. There are 8 men and 4 women. And of the alternates, there are 4 men and 2 women. Then there were opening statements. Federal prosecutors laid out claims of a years-long pattern of abuse, including trafficking, coercion, and intimidation. They painted a picture of a powerful figure, allegedly operating a predatory network under the guise of a music industry. Diddy's team fired back, calling this case a witch hunt based on unreliable witnesses and sensationalism. They argued that the allegations were exaggerated or completely false, and emphasized while they don't deny that Diddy has a temper, that there is a lack of evidence that ties him back to trafficking. We also heard from 2 witnesses. First was the hotel security guard that was working the night of the infamous hotel security footage. He testified that he saw Diddy and Cassie when he got off the elevator to investigate things, and that the best way he could describe Diddy was just like a devilish stare. He also testified that Diddy gave him a stack of money and told him not to tell anybody what he saw, and that the security officer took that as a bribe. On cross-examination, the defense suggested that the money could have just been to help cover for property damages. According to the testimony, the officer had told Diddy that he was responsible for covering any property damages, and the defense is suggesting that that was what the money was given for. The defense attorney was also questioning the security guard as to why key details, like seeing Cassie with a black eye and hearing Diddy tell her not to leave, were left out of the initial report. The security guard testified that despite the incident happening nearly a decade ago, that he remembers it clearly and that he stands by exactly what he says he saw. Next on the stand was a male worker that Diddy allegedly hired for Cassie. He testified that Diddy would record him and Cassie together, and that he saw Diddy assault Cassie. Today we are expected to get the cross-examination of that worker, and also Cassie is expected to take the stand. So make sure to follow and let me know if you have any comments or questions down below. It's Tuesday, May 13th, and things got intense in the Diddy trial as the defense cross-examined Daniel Phillips, the male that Diddy allegedly paid to sleep with Cassie. I'm an attorney and I read what happened, so you don't have to. Defense attorney Donaldson wasted no time grilling Phillip. Phillip testified that when he met Cassie, he was offered $4,000 before any activity even took place. Donaldson then pushed Phillip to recall the exact details of these encounters, the layouts of the hotel rooms, and where Diddy was throughout these encounters. During this line of questioning, Phillip testified that Cassie ran to him, shaking and terrified, followed an alleged attack by Diddy. Phillip claims that him and Cassie talked before things turned physical. He emphasized that the encounter happened organically and that it wasn't immediately physical. As the defense continued to dig into Phillip's testimony from Monday, they pointed out discrepancies in what Phillips allegedly told the police about the attack on Cassie. Phillips had testified that after the alleged incident, Diddy had come out of the room and asked them, "Are you ready to continue?" implying continuing the activity. However, the defense attorney pointed out that the police report contradicted this, which claimed that Diddy told Phillips to get the F out. Phillips stood firm, denying any memory of telling the police that Diddy told him to get the F out. The prosecution then had a redirect with Phillip, who retestified and reconfirmed that Diddy directed many of his encounters and activities with Cassie. Cassie is expected to take the stand next, so make sure to follow and let me know if you have any comments or questions down below. Cassie is currently taking the stand in the Diddy trial, and her testimony has been deeply emotional. I'm an attorney and I read what happened, so you don't have to. Before I delve into this, I just want to put out another quick statement that I will not be delving into the explicit details of her testimony, as this video will likely get taken down. But also a warning that her testimony does involve DV, so if that is a sensitive subject, please keep scrolling. Let's get into it. Cassie told jurors today that during her 10-year relationship with Diddy, violence was a regular occurrence. According to her, arguments often turned physical. She described being dragged, kicked, and even having her head slammed. When asked how often this happened, she responded frequently. She spoke of black eyes, bruises, and visible knots on her forehead, all as a result of the DV she endured. The courtroom fell silent as she identified a still image from the hotel surveillance, the same video that surfaced last year. She confirmed that it showed one of these violent incidents that she's referencing. Then came testimony for what she called as freak-offs, which is a term for encounters with paid individuals or third parties. Cassie testified that at first Diddy arranged them, but then he put that responsibility on her and had her arrange them. She described being just 22, confused, nervous, and deeply in love, just wanting to please Diddy even when she didn't understand or want what was going on. She testified that she eventually felt like she had no choice. Cassie testified that she feared both blackmail and violence from Diddy if she said she no longer wanted to participate. She described Diddy as both polarizing and charming, someone who could manipulate the moment to make her question her own needs and her own safety. Cassie's testimony is just getting started, so we'll see how the rest unfolds, and let me know if you have any comments or questions down below. 2 of Cassie's testimony in the Diddy trial. I already made a part 1, so make sure to go watch that, and let's get straight into it. Cassie's testimony goes on to describe her early days in the relationship with Diddy, which began when she was only 19. Cassie had signed a 10-album deal with Bad Boy Records, Diddy's label. Cassie described Diddy as larger than life, a music mogul, and a powerful figure. At the time, she was a huge fan and thought that she landed a dream opportunity. But what started as a promising career move quickly became something else entirely. She recalled being 21 when Diddy first kissed her, unexpectedly in a hotel room. She recalled being shocked and confused. As a new artist, she testified that she wasn't prepared for an executive to act romantically towards her. She cried and ran off, unsure what to make of it. But things didn't end there. In the months that followed, Cassie testified that Diddy would invite her to his hotel room under the guise of discussing music. During those meetings, he introduced her to, even though she didn't reciprocate. She said that she felt pressured, inexperienced, and manipulated, and that he made her feel crazy for not doing what he wanted. Then came a trip to Miami, where she says that they slept together for the first time. Cassie says that she recalls drinking wine and then taking a pill that Diddy gave her, and it was her first time. She said she was out of it, high, and emotionally overwhelmed. After that night, she testifies that the relationship became physically involved, even though it wasn't public. She described being in love and completely under his control. From what she wore to who she spoke, Diddy began managing every aspect of her life. Cassie said that he'd call constantly, and if she didn't answer, his assistants, security, or other employees would be told to go find her. She said she was his shadow and believed it to be her first real adult relationship. But it came at a cost. Cassie testified that Diddy was emotionally volatile, and that his moods shifted rapidly. Sometimes she said a single facial expression would set him off. Make the wrong face and I'd get hit. She also revealed that during this time, Diddy was still in a relationship with Kim Porter, which was something that added to her confusion and pain. Part 3 of Cassie's testimony in the Diddy trial. Part 1 and Part 2 are already uploaded, so let's get into it. Cassie didn't just testify about physical. She painted a picture of intense psychological control in her relationship with Diddy. She testified that she was constantly monitored and always expected to be working on music. Diddy made her submit a list of songs that she was working on, but many of those tracks were never released. In fact, she says she recorded hundreds of songs, enough for 9 albums, but only one of those songs was ever released. Cassie described it as busy work, a way to control what she was doing every minute. She recalled feeling stomach-knotted dreads every time he would make unannounced visits, which he did often because he had keys to her homes that he paid for, and he'd show up depending on his moods. Cassie said that she followed Diddy from New York to LA because she loved him. But once there, the emotional grip only got tighter, and her music career entirely stalled. When asked why she never dropped another album, she gave a bitter smile and said, "You're asking me?" She said that Diddy always made the final call and he chose to not release any of her music. Cassie says that most of her time was spent partying, recovering, and in freak-offs. She testified that those turned into full-time jobs, and they could last up to days, with one even lasting 4 days. She testified that there was no space to do anything else. Court has adjourned for lunch, but Cassie's expected to continue testifying after, so stay tuned for the next part and let me know if you have any comments or questions down below. Back in session, and Cassie is back on the stand. This is part 4 of breaking down Cassie's testimony in the Diddy trial. I already uploaded parts 1 through 3, so make sure to go check those out. Let's get into it. Cassie testified that from early on, Diddy was very involved in how she looked. She stated, "Some days he would want me to look really sexy, and other days like a tomboy." But she alleges it wasn't just clothing, it was her whole appearance. She told the court, "He would say that I looked too Mexican with my hair like that, or that my nails had to be French or white, especially during the freak-offs." Cassie testified that Diddy would also come in on her body, and that he brought up implants and would bring up her workouts to make sure that her body was staying in the shape it should. Cassie described punishments when things wouldn't go Diddy's way. He would take the car away, the house, the jewelry, and it wasn't theoretical. She alleges that staff or security were sent to collect her things if she wasn't there. In her words, "The physical things didn't matter. I just wanted his approval." She also testified about seeing guns and safes across his homes in New York, Miami, and LA. "The guns came out here and there, but I always felt like it was a bit of a scare tactic," Cassie testified. She recalled one occasion where Diddy handed her a gun to hide in her purse at the club. "I was freaking out that it was going to go off," she recalled during her testimony. Cassie's testimony is expected to be a long one, so let me know if you have any comments or questions down below and make sure to come for the next part. Cassie is testifying as to the details of the freak-offs in the Diddy trial. This is part 5 breaking down Cassie's testimony. Parts 1 through 4 have already been posted. Let's get into it. Cassie testified that Diddy first introduced the idea within the first 6 months of dating, shortly after the abuse started. He described it as a fantasy, she testified, where he would want me to have interactions with other men so he could sit back and watch. Cassie was 22. She said, "I loved him. I didn't want him to think that I thought anything bad of him." She described the first freak-off as a male worker that was paid by Diddy. He was paid to entertain, to dance, and to sleep with Cassie. And Cassie says that both alcohol and substances were involved. She said she was high, so there wasn't much feeling there, but emotionally, she felt dirty and confused. But that Diddy was really happy with her, so she felt like she did something right. These events became regular, and they happened weekly for years, she testified. Diddy controlled everything. Lighting, positions, everything was choreographed. When asked how she felt, Cassie answered, "Humiliated, disgusted, like I wasn't good for anything else." She began crying on the stand as she shared that this was often the only time she really got one-on-one attention from Diddy. She testified, "When you care about someone and you love them, you don't want to disappoint them." Cassie said that she went along with it out of fear because if Diddy wanted it to happen, it was going to happen. She testified that the freak-offs happened all around the world in hotels in Miami, New York, LA, and more, and they would often check in under aliases. She alleged that one freak-off even required 10 regular-sized bottles of baby oil. When asked why she didn't say no in one of the instances, she responded, "You don't have a lot of control in those moments," referencing both the substance use and emotional pressure. The testimony is still going, so make sure to come back for the next part and let me know if you have any comments or questions down below. Part 6 of Cassie's testimony in the Diddy trial. Parts 1 through 5 are already uploaded, so let's get into it. The U.S. attorney asked Cassie to describe how the male workers were selected for what her and Diddy referred to as freak-offs. Cassie testified, "I would show the photos to Sean to see if he was interested. If he wasn't, I would tell them no and ask for somebody else." She testified that she would use websites such as Craigslist and Cowboys for Angels to find workers, always under Diddy's direction. According to Cassie, these workers were typically paid between $1,500 and $6,000, and Diddy would typically give her the money to hand it over to them. When asked about individual participants, Cassie testified that she typically didn't know their real names, and that one was known to her as the Punisher. The jury was shown photos of several of the men, all who were described as being either Black or Latino. On substance use, Cassie testified that she would use various substances because it helped her dissociate and it was numbing. She went on that she couldn't imagine doing any of that stuff without a buffer, and that she would often vomit from her substance use. But if it happened during a freak-off, Diddy would make her continue. She alleges that these sessions were recorded on video cameras and on phones, and that when she let him know that she didn't want to be recorded, that Diddy claimed that it brought him enjoyment and that he was going to keep doing it. She also testified that he would set up phones on FaceTime so he could watch from other rooms. She stated, "I wanted it to be over so we could get to the other room and spend some alone time together." Cassie is still testifying, so make sure to come for the next parts and let me know if you have any comments or questions down below.